Thank you guys for coming back and welcome to part 2 for this particular speaking question. So I'm not going to talk too much, it's already taken too long, so let's just get into it right now, part 2 of this speaking question. Now, when you're preparing for your response, remember that you want to introduce and define the topic. You want to state, and I'm going to show you how to do this in a minute, so don't worry if you don't understand this. I'm going to give you an example in 1 minute. You're going to state and expand the first example, state and expand the second example, and then wrap it up with a conclusion. Pretty simple. So here's an example of a template that you can use. I'm going to show you an example of this, so don't worry about it too much right now, but definitely you can pause the video and look at this on your own. And I also included the content, what you should include there, and also the time, so you know about how long it should take to do each part of this template. All right, so now here's the template in action. Now again, I worked on this, I tried to perfect it for this video, so don't worry if yours is not like this. It's not going to be like this. No problem. All right, here we go. The professor goes into a ton of detail about the preservation of artifacts in museums, which helps slow down the deterioration process. After introducing, so in the beginning, I define the topic. And then I start talking about the subtopics, the examples or the reasons or the aspects of the topic. After introducing the topic, the lecturer mentions that, and then I say what? A stable temperature is key. Materials like paper and wood dry out easily if the temperature changes too drastically, which is why most museums keep the temperature between 68 to 72 degrees. So that's that, and you can read the rest of this as well, but you get the idea of how it should sound. Okay, so again, try not to read your notes. Use them to speak from memory. I'm going to give this tip again in a couple minutes, so I will say this twice, but I just want you to know that when you read, you are not speaking the same way you would if you were looking in somebody's eyes. Okay, reading does not, you don't speak the same way that you would in a conversation when you read. So be careful when you're reading your notes for this question. All right, so now how do you actually check your speaking? So this is the grading rubric that's going to help you. First is the ETS criteria. This is according to the company that makes the TOEFL. There are 3 sections, actually 4 sections, but the first one, general description, is pretty general. So delivery is number 2, which is how you speak. You speak in a calm and cool and natural manner. Language use, you speak with good vocabulary and you change the grammar structure. And topic development, the last one. You followed a structure, you began with the topic and definition, you showed some examples and wrapped it up with a conclusion. So you had good structure pretty much. Here's a checklist for you to use that you can use on your own. The first one is, did you speak for 57 to 60 seconds? You want to try to get to that 58, 59 second mark. That's the really magic number. Hard to do, hard to get used to, but that's what your goal is. Was my introduction 15 seconds or less? Try to have a pretty quick introduction, and by introduction I mean you introduce the topic and you define the topic. Did I have enough time to include a short conclusion? A conclusion is not necessary exactly, but it's a good thing to have if you have it. Did I look at the clock to monitor my time at least twice? So the clock is your friend. It's there to help you know, I need to speak faster, I need to speak slower, I need to move on. It's going to help you pace yourself. So use the clock to your advantage. Did I include at least 2 transitional words? So these are phrases like in the reading passage, according to the listening, in conclusion, in sum. Those are all transitional phrases. So try to use those in your response. Did I speak at a smooth and even pace? So you don't say, like, okay, so you don't say that too much, right? You try to speak smooth and even. Avoid the robot voice. Speak naturally and conversationally. Please don't say, according to the reading passage, or no, I'm sorry, this is just the listening. So according to the listening, the professor says that. No, speak naturally. According to the listening, the professor says that. You know, try to speak in a natural, friendly way. And did you include all the essential information? This is the last question, number 8, from the reading and listening. Make sure you included all of that important information from there. Okay, now, final tips. make sure you develop a positive inner coach. Now, what on earth does that mean? That means basically that this is a little different than actual question 4 strategy. This is more about having a speaking to yourself well. So a lot of times the voice in our head is pretty negative. Oh, this is so stupid. I shouldn't have said this. Why did I say that? We want to speak, or we want to have a voice inside of our head that's a bit more positive, okay? That says, you didn't do that well here, but you can do better next time. I know it sounds kind of silly, and I know it sounds difficult to do, but definitely trying to have a voice in your head that's positive is going to help you improve much more than a negative voice. Speak with interest and enthusiasm. Pretend you love this topic, whatever the topic. Preserving museum artifacts. Oh boy! Be excited about it. Be interested in it, and that'll help your response. Record your responses as always. Recording your response and listening to it. I know you hate the sound of your own voice. Everybody does. But get used to it, because that's really what's going to help you improve on your weaknesses. Don't read your notes yet. Try to avoid reading your notes as well, because your reading voice is different than your speaking voice. When you're looking somebody in the eye and talking, you speak differently than when you read. Okay? So that's it for the last tips for speaking question number 4. Don't forget to download the complete test somewhere in the description there. You can practice these at home. You're going to learn a lot more from practicing. Check out our site, tsdprep.com. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for listening. And yeah, I appreciate you. And I'll see you in the next video. All right, take care. Bye-bye.